I'm looking at him and he's scared. He's scared of me.
I see kids when they see me in uniform go out their way just to say to the top of their lungs, I hate the police. Can't stand the police. They used to love us. What happened?
I heard a bullhorn and it said, pull over.
And the first thing out of their mouth was,
"What are you doing here?"
What are you doing here?
"What are you doing here?" I said, "Excuse me?"
I said, "Why did you stop me?" And he said, "Because we're stopping anyone who looks like they're not from this neighborhood."
In 2012, I experienced something that was not abnormal. I experienced racial profiling. I was 48 at the time, and I had experienced racial profiling incidents pretty much every decade of my life, starting at around 16.
June 6, 2012. It was a beautiful day in Howard County, Maryland. I decided to go for a walk, so I headed over to St. John's Lane, and I was about half a mile into that walk when a Howard County police officer drove by me once and then came back, and then he came back again. And he got out of his car and he went like this to me. And then he said, "What are you doing here?" And he started to question me about why I was in the neighborhood. What was I doing there? And I felt like his questions were getting increasingly invasive. I asked him why he was asking me all those questions, and he said that there had been a break-in in the neighborhood. And I asked him if it had happened that morning. And he said, no, there were break-ins in the past. And I said, well, if there wasn't a break-in this morning, then why are you stopping me? And he said, I'm stopping everyone who looks like they're not from this neighborhood. And that's when I knew why he stopped me. Because I'm black. As I'm walking away from the police officer, I pull my phone out and I called my attorney because a similar incident happened just a couple of months earlier. And I said, you wouldn't believe what just happened to me. I just got stopped for walking while black. Not 5 minutes later, 3 Howard County police officers come up. And that first officer, along with 2 others, rush up to me. And there's a corporal with his nose right up to my nose, yelling at me. Was there a misunderstanding back there? And he yelled it over and over. And I noticed that the first officer had his hand on his taser. And I noticed that the third officer was in an aggressive stance. And the first thing I said was, my attorney's on speakerphone and he hears everything.
Well, I was afraid for my life in that instance. Because it started out with 1 officer and then it wound up escalating to 3 officers, and there was some nose to nose yelling going on that I was the recipient of, and I kept my calm and I de-escalated the situation. I basically said my attorney's on speakerphone and he hears everything, and they all took a step back, from there, and it bought me a little time to just let my attorney talk with them and then, just kind of get out of there in one piece. So I was thinking that this was possibly the day that I wind up in the hospital or dead. So it was scary. And it took me a long time to get over that. It took me 2.5 years to get over that moment, in fact. And even now, I am a veteran, and I'm a service disabled veteran with PTSD and depression and anxiety, and I go see a therapist, for those things. But this incident triggered a lot of that, and it really took me into a dark place. And so, for 2.5 years of that journey, I was, waking up, from nightmares, and every time I saw a police officer, my heart would race and I'd break into a cold sweat. And, it was hard. It was really hard. So the 2.5 year mark was when I was in Hawaii on a beach there, just, kind of in the water. And I just felt all of a sudden this peace come over me. And up until that point, I was thinking I was going to make a film that was just going to get people fired And my thinking about change at that time was all these cops got to go. We got to get rid of all of them, bring in a whole new crew, and that all changed for me in an instant. Standing waist deep in the waters of Kailua Beach in Hawaii, I felt like the Holy Spirit just touched my heart and said, "You got to let it all go. You got to let go of that fear and the anger that you're feeling and the frustration and all the negative things that are on you. Just let it all go. Just let it all wash away and just use love." During that time is when I decided to do something about it and tell a story. And the story wound up being a story of reconciliation. Took 4.5 years to make the film. And during that 4.5 years, I wound up, just being moved into a space of we've got to learn how to love each other. We've got to get past all this craziness, and so I'm pretty proud of what my team and I came up with, and it's been making a difference. Right. So when I first came up with the Love is the Answer acronym, L is for learn. Learn about the people in your community. So you're taking knowledge into your head. The second step is really important, which is then to take that head knowledge and let it sift down into the heart. That's the open. The O is for open your heart. The V is then to volunteer yourself to be part of the solution in someone's life. That's a very important action step. And then the E is to empower others to do the same. It was to teach police how to better relate to the communities that they serve. But as it worked on me, it wound up becoming much broader than that. It really then became a how do we treat that person next door? How do we treat ourselves? How do we treat that person who cuts us off when we're driving down the road? That's hard to do sometimes, right? Uh, how do we treat our enemies, right? So if we have animosity towards someone, or if someone has done us wrong, then how can we find it in our heart to even learn how to love them? And so what I'm finding is that when I go all over the country with this film and now our workshops, and I'm finding that in many, many communities, people are at odds. So you've got almost like two gangs, like the police and the community, or different groups that butt heads, don't want to have anything to do with each other. And it's just very kind of tribal, in that I've got my tribe, you've got your tribe, and never will we cross paths in a friendly way. And so what I'm out there preaching is, hey, let's see if we can find some common ground. Let's see if we can treat each other like we would treat a family member. And if we're at odds with a family member, chances are we're not going to physically assault that person, or we're not going to, in most cases, right? And if if we try to work it out, we try to find some common ground with a family member so that we can make things better. And I know that for 1% of those relationships, it's really, really bad. But I'm looking at the majority of instances where people have some things that are separating them. If they only take the time to get to know each other better, find that common ground, then all the other stuff that's dividing them, we chip away at that, and those walls start to come down, and the bridges get built, and the relationships get stronger. Well, first bring the film in. Bring the film in and play it, and just let go of any preconceived notions or biases or thoughts of this is going to cause something bad to happen, and just play it and let the discussion unfold. We've got study guides that we've created, and we've got the Love is the Answer book that's coming out January 2nd, 2020. It's going to be amazing. That book is called Love is the Answer, and I wrote it from the perspective of a guy who's been married 25 years, and all the things that I learned in those first 25 years of marriage. Some lessons that were difficult for me to learn, but you know when I looked at these 25 things that I learned, I looked at that and it kind of mirrors the police community relationship. The police community relationship is kind of an arranged marriage that you can't get out of. We're we're stuck with each other, police and community. It's actually one community. Just some people in the community are police, right? And so I'd say to the teachers, professors, administrators, um, bring this film in and see what happens. Just play it and let the dialogue take place, and we'll provide some guides to help you with that. I'll even come in and do a Q&A or teach a workshop, whatever I can do to help. We've also got other people on our team who are scattered all over the country who are experts that can come in and help, including people who are in the film or in the book. We've got a lot of resources that we can come in and help you with. Now, it's not just for communities that have something bad going on between police and the rest of the community. It's really about uh, diversity and inclusion and equity and some other things, HR issues and bullying and other things that are going on in the community. Every single community in America needs this message. If things are great between police and community, and chances are, if people say they're great, they're probably only good, because a lot of times people are upset about things. They're really not that vocal because they're afraid of the retaliation of what can happen to them if they do speak up. They may be uncomfortable about talking about the thing because they know that the minute they say something about it, they're going to get shut down, or they're going to lose half their friends, or they might even lose their job. So what I'd say is, you need this, no matter where you are in America. You need this film, and I promise you, if you bring it in, you're going to see some amazing things happen. And it's not just about the improvement between police and community, but about helping everyone learn how to love themselves, learn how to love their neighbor, and learn how to love their enemies into becoming friends. I've had some really poignant moments happen when someone would tell me, "I'm not gonna, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I don't want to see that. That's cop bashing." And so I'd go down the list of the words on the poster. Okay, so let me help me out here. Let me learn something from you. So, what is it about it that's cop bashing? Is it the walking part? Because is it love? Is it the word black? And then they get a little sheepish look on their face because they realize that bias, right? That there's nothing inherently bad about that word black, but it triggered something in them that made them think, this is not for me. And so I see a lot of times when someone has something against that title, right, they assume that, okay, this is going to be bad. When they see the film, everything changes. Everything changes. So I've got some folks who are dear friends now who were in that category that just didn't want to have anything to do with it, but then saw it and saw how balanced it was, and saw that half of the people that we interview in the film are cops. We got a couple of police chiefs in there. In fact, one of them, Jackie Seabrooks, was the chief in Santa Monica. She's now retired to Texas, eating some great barbecue every day and riding her horse off into the sunset. I don't know what she's doing now, but she's having fun being retired. I think she's in law school now. But dear friend, and some others who are law enforcement who are in the film, who have become like brothers and sisters. And now I'm getting calls every day from people who are being referred to me by members of law enforcement who see this film, bring it to their community, experience the change that takes place, and lets their friends know, hey, we've got to have this. This is something that's working. So I'll give you an example that happened recently in Savannah, Georgia. We had shown the film at the National Youth at Risk Conference back in March of this year. And it was so well received that they had to add a second screening because they had to close the doors because it was standing room only, and it was just overflowing. So they added another one. And then we had discussions afterwards, and they wanted to bring me back to Savannah. So just about a month ago, I was there, and my wife Jane, who works with me, and Paul Lee, who's the executive director of the Fellowship of Christian Peace Officers. They're a strategic partner with us. He came in, and another member of our team, Kurt Storm, who's in North Carolina. And we went in there to Georgia Southern University, and we had the police chief and the deputy chief from the school police there in Savannah Chatham Public Schools. We had students from high school and college. We had several other law enforcement agencies represented. We had business people and people from the school board and others from the community. We taught a workshop there. It was a full day workshop, and it went really well. At one point in the workshop, I like to say, okay, we're done just talking, right? We've learned about learn and open your heart and volunteer yourself to be part of the solution and empower others to do the same. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to find somebody who needs help in the community, and we're going to help them. So I asked people to put their hands up if they knew someone who was in need. And a hand went up, and a lady said that there's a woman and her children who are homeless. And they had bills to catch up on, and they were trying to get into a new place. And so I said, okay, let's see what we can do. How many hands can I see of people who can help, who'd be willing to help this family? And a lot of hands went up, like half the people in the room. And so I asked a few of them, okay, so what are you thinking? And they told me, one person knew someone in the mayor's office, and someone else had some furniture. And by the time it was over, we had help being volunteered to that family on the spot. And 2 weeks later, that family was in a new home. They had 2+ truckloads of household goods and clothes and other things, food, you name it, furniture, donated to them. They had bills being paid. They have assistance coming in from all facets of the community to help them get back on their feet, not just for that moment, but for the rest of their life. And it's been amazing to see that happen. That's one of, I could fill your time with hours and hours of stories. That's one of them that happened recently. I don't want to just show the film. I don't just want to teach a workshop or have someone read the book. I'm all about action steps. Always been that way, proactive. If there's a problem in the community, let me see if I can go out and be part of the solution, right? So with the gardens, we're trying to get police and elders and young people, preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, business people to get outside, take a deep breath, loosen those shoulders up, put the hands in the soil, plant some seeds, talk to someone instead of texting them, right? And see what happens when something grows that you've had a part in that. Like my wife and I share a garden plot with a neighbor, and we planted tomatoes and green peppers and cucumbers and strawberries and some of the best food I've ever had in my life. The satisfaction that we get from seeing those things grow is immeasurable. I don't spend a lot of time there. It's not like you have to make a tremendous commitment. You don't have to go there for 2 or 3 days a week, right? But just going there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, turning some soil, watering some things, pruning. Those things they have healing properties to them. And so what we're trying to do now is we're trying to get in a lot of cities, there are blighted areas that there might be a lot that's filled with trash or just weeds or just some place that's not being used for anything. Why not turn that into a space where people can work together, where they can get to know each other, where life can come forth, right? Where fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices can grow, and lives can be changed. And so that's what we're working on right now. Is we'd like to see Love is the Answer children's learning gardens being created in cities all over America. I'd love to see something happen in Dallas. I'd love to come down there and help with that, and just trying to get people into places and spaces where they can build those relationships. So not just talk about it, but be about it. And again, I just want to throw down a challenge to anyone who sees this. If you do that, if you take that step, if you build that garden, they will come. Get police out to be alongside someone who has spent time in prison, and maybe is on parole, or maybe someone who's on probation, or a young person who's maybe is on parole, or maybe can't find their way. Take some time, grab the elders. We don't reach out to our older folks enough. There's some 70, 80, 90, 100-year-old people out there who never get a phone call or a knock on the door. They got all that wisdom, all that experience. And I'll bet you they'd love to come out and participate and teach people a few things about gardening, because there was a time when everybody did it, right? And so what about food deserts, where people are having a hard time trying to find anything organic or relatively good for you? Food deserts have another thing in common. They have places where there's land that's not being used, maybe houses that have been boarded up with lawns. Why not grab one of those from the city and refurbish that house and make it a community library, or a community center, a learning center, a mentoring center, and have the front and backyard where there's stuff being planted, a garden where things and people can grow. So that's the challenge I'm laying down to people now is, go out and do it and see what happens. You said it right. It's a verb, right? You got to have action with it. And I know that faith without works is dead. I know that we can talk about something all day long. And the reason why people have given up on love is because they don't put it into action, And if we put it into action, love is nothing without the action. If we put it into action, we'll see things change. That's why I want to do the gardens, because I've seen nothing but good come out of gardens. Nothing but good. Again, if you do it, you'll be changed.
Maybe instead of running them off or writing them a ticket, maybe we need to pull one up and have a chat with them, because we're going to get there. We're going to get there where the community all wants to come, have coffee with a cop, all wants to come to National Night Out, because it's a fun-filled event and we get an opportunity to share with each other. And every child in America wants to climb in a police car and see those lights. Every kid wants to call them a hero. But right now we got to get there by going to first.
Absolutely. It sure will. And just bringing neighbors together, to do things for a change, that'll be amazing too. The street that I live on, there are people that have been here 20 years and didn't know each other. And so I've been connecting people since I moved here 3.5 years ago, and it's kind of fun. They call me the mayor of Strand Street now, because I'm just busy just trying to connect, but just trying to live it out.
The moment we hear that there's a problem, we should want to go out of our way to fix it. If you want to reach the community, you got to go to the community.
Say, hey, love is the most powerful force in the universe. So if you're going to fight, why not pick up the most powerful force in the universe and fight with that, right? So it's a pretty simple answer, and a lot of times people don't want to hear it, but I've had people tell me that and then come back to me 6 months later or a year later and say, you know what, man, I tried it because I tried everything else and nothing worked. And I tried love, and guess what? It worked.
We grabbed a few brave pastors that went with us and said, just pray for them when you see them. Just hold them. Someone just need to be held. And that's what we did. We just loved them. Because if I don't know anything else, love covers a multitude of things. It brings healing for a lot of things. And at the end of the day, I don't care where you come from, who you are in this life. If someone can just show you some love, even in the midst of the most horrific of tragedies, healing follows.
And it was a miracle too. It was something that I won't call it an epiphany because that's too simple. It was a miracle that happened to me when literally everything changed. And I went from that guy who wanted to dismantle the police departments and get everybody out of there to a guy who's saying, okay, maybe we can work this out. Maybe I can look past all that and just let all that stuff go. And no matter how they treat me from this day forward, I'm going to love on them and see what happens. And no matter what happens, I'm going to keep on doing it. And I've been doing that since September 25th, 2014. And I've been all over the country, and I've got a lot of new friends, a lot of folks who are like brothers and sisters now who are wearing the badge. And all over the country, we're building relationships, and I'm working with them, and we're getting things done, and we're seeing miracles take place in communities all over now. You're going to be changed. Your heart's going to be transformed. Your mind is going to be a little different when you come out of this film, or read the book, or go through the workshop. It has changed me. It's made me a better man, just being in this process for the past 7.5 years now. The people that I've been around, that have been on my team, or in the communities where I've gone, the messages that I get on a daily basis now, you will be changed for the better. And you did ask earlier about the bad, right? Like, if anything, good change, bad change. I've not seen any bad come out of this. I've seen the power of love working in miraculous ways. So I'll share one more with you. So I went to Detroit, and we taught, actually showed the film and did a Q&A there. We didn't do the full workshop. But after the film, there was a lady who was leaving, and I asked her why she was leaving, if she had somewhere to go, and she said, I have to go pick up my husband. And I said, I wish he could have been here. And she said, me too. She said he just got out of prison recently, and he's been having a really hard time, and it's been really hard on us. And she started to tear up, and I said, well, I'm so sorry, but I'm glad he's out. So let's see if we can get him some help. Can you bring him back? Can you go get him and bring him back here? And she said, sure, I'll see if he wants to. So 20 minutes later, they showed up, and they stood in the back of the room while we were doing the Q&A. And then afterwards, I went over and talked with them, and he shared his story with me. Recently returned citizen from, he was in prison, he came home. No one would give him a chance. Couldn't get hired, couldn't get trained. Said he learned nothing during the time he was in prison. It was basically a fight for his life. Every day was just about survival, And so I said, well, I tell you what, that ends today. We're going to do something about that. We're going to put love into action right now. And I went over to the retired police officer who was there, and the school administrator who was there, and the business person who was there. I said, we got some work to do. So I introduced them to this gentleman and his wife. And right there on the spot, they pledged to form what I like to call a mentoring circle around that family. And they pledged right there on the spot to be his personal advisory board from that moment on, so that they could get him the training, get him a job, get them back on their feet. And his wife just wept, just broke down into, tears of relief and of joy at that point. And I've checked in, and these people that committed stayed on top of it, and that family's getting the help that they need. So now, we're like, okay, every young person that we run into, every person who has been impacted by the criminal justice system, I think we need to be that driving force that helps get those mentoring circles formed around folks. Because I know firsthand from having family members who were incarcerated, how important that is, not just for the person who was incarcerated, but for the family and the extended family. They're all going through it, and they all need our help. go to trylovenow.com and see all the information there. There's a space there that you can click and get connected to us. Go to walkingwhileblack.com. That's the film website. You can see the trailer. You can see some select clips. You can see some media from things that we've done all over the country. As far as email, info@loveistheanswermovement.com. And then if you go to the trylovenow.com site, one of the first things you'll see is a button that you can press to get the app as well. So we have an app that's brand new, that's incredible. I love it. We're only just getting started with it, but this app is connecting people in communities, and we're going to do a lot of fun things with it. We hope to create a game that people can play and get addicted to, and be in an environment that's positive and connect with other positive people, and stuff like that.
In 1998, my brother Abby passed away, and it was on his deathbed that he said his last words to me, which were, "Love is the answer." And those words came back to me in a powerful way that I knew it was going to be life-changing for me. LOVE became an acronym. If we can learn about people in the community and what makes them tick, if we can open our heart to their issues, have empathy for them as people, if we can volunteer ourselves to be part of the solution, and if we can empower others to do the same, then we'll have love. People talk about no justice, no peace, but here's the reality. We've got to start with love, and we've got to live it out every single day. As we do that, we will develop respect. And when we work on that every day, respecting each other, that will lead to justice. And justice, in that form, will result in a peace that passes all understanding. We'll get there. We just need to love each other. Love is the answer.